Founded around 3100 BC and situated south of the Nile Delta, the city of Men-Nefer, which is Memphis in Greek and American, was the capital of ancient Egypt for 9 dynasties and the most populous city on the planet. In 1979, it was declared a UNESCO World Heritage Site, primarily for its necropolises and pyramid complexes known worldwide, such as Abu Sir, Saqqara, Dashur, and... You guys want to guess the fourth one? Giza! That's right. Good guess, guys.
Geography.
In
Jake
Men-Nefer...
should have known that.
Jake knew it, right? He said it really quiet. You will relive one of the greatest periods of ancient Egypt, carrying out tasks typical to Egyptian culture, acquiring knowledge in the houses of life, navigating and trading on the Nile River, making offerings at the great temple of Ptah, embalming the corpses of nobles to send them off to a better afterlife, erecting beautiful sphinxes, and contributing to the construction of the Great Pyramids, those are all typical of Egyptian life. In addition to this, you must be careful of how you make your way through this earthly world to be sure that Osiris will grant you passage to Aru, the long-awaited heavenly paradise of the afterlife. Pretty decent blurb, in my opinion. Today on the board, boys.
Men-Nefer.
Sounds like a power couple from the early 2Ks, right?
Men-Nefer.
Yeah.
It's like the combination.
Yeah.
Men-Nefer.
It's like when Jennifer Lopez stopped dating Ben Affleck and started dating Men Affleck.
Hey everybody, welcome to another episode of the Board Boys Podcast, Season 16. Divide that by 2, Episode 8. This is your Board Boy, cruising down the Nile, Rob.
Oh, man. It's your boy, Cleopatra TK.
It's your boy, Indiana Jake.
And it's your boy, Men-Nefer actually is Jennifer Aniston and
Mario Lopez.
Lyle Mendez.
and Lyle Mendez. I was just going to say Oh, okay. Cam, a.k.a. Boinker McDoinker, a.k.a. Cam.
I'm in your brain.
That's so funny. Wait, Lyle Menendez.
Yeah, I was going to, yeah.
Menendez.
You're correct.
No, sorry. It's Jennifer Aniston and Carlos Mencia.
Is that Fluffy?
No, that's Gabriel Iglesias.
Oh.
Carlos Mencia was the guy who had a pretty popular Comedy Central show on the coattails of the Chappelle Show, which is basically the Mexican version of the Chappelle Show with a guy who wasn't as funny.
Was it Mind of Mencia?
Mind of Mencia.
Oh,
And
yeah.
then, basically it came out that he was a gigantic joke thief. Joe Rogan, went after him hard in a comedy club. In between Joe Rogan being Fear Factor and Joe Rogan being the most dominant person in media. It was in between those two things. He went way after him, and it ruined Carlos Mencia's career.
I mean,
I think I vaguely remember that.
he was stealing jokes.
Yeah, well, he was definitely stealing jokes. Yeah.
So that should ruin his career. And
Yeah.
then people called him out for it.
I wasn't defending Carlos Mencia there. So, yeah.
It's interesting, it's hard to have an original thought, right? Like, how do you know if someone has done a joke?
These were...
I mean, if you're doing whole bits, I guess, if you steal somebody's whole bit, maybe.
It was basically word for word.
Yeah. Like somebody's entire bit. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Which I think was kind of if you go back into the history of stand-up comedy, I think prior to the internet era, joke thievery was kind of for road comics before comedy had its big boom and everybody's just kind of like a nightclub comic. Joke thievery and you're hey, you're gonna go do Seattle and you heard a bunch of funny stuff and you're just gonna say it. I think was kind of just part of how it works. But
Right.
now that it's the age of the internet and more of an art form and the way these guys approach it, I think that you definitely can't do it. I was thinking about Chappelle's show today. and sorry for taking this on a big aside, as one of like the hallmarks of like millennial culture. And I was actually, what kicked this all off was I was in a store yesterday and that Peter, Bjorn, and John song Young Folks came on. You know, I guess what I'm talking about. The ones go like,
Oh, yeah.
and I was thinking like, man, that is kind of like when that song came out, I think is the day that millennials took the controlling share of like cultural capital. You know what I mean? Like there was some millennial hits before that, like the Chappelle Show. I think like that Modest Mouse song "Float On" was like what started shifting it from Gen X. And then I was like, well, what was the day the millennials lost the controlling share? And I think it's when Old Town Road came out. I think millennials had it from Young Folks. They're at like 41% to like Old Town Road brings them down to like, 32 takes them out, right? Young Folks, 2006, Old Town Road, 2017, something like that.
Well done.
Had about 11 years, right?
I mean, my kid loves Old Town Road, so.
And here's the thing: your kid is not a Zoomer. Your kid's like 2 generations behind that.
Yeah.
But like
Alpha, just be one behind.
Alpha. Okay. Yeah. So yeah, there we go. So, but obviously we liked the Gen X stuff as kids more than we liked the Boomer stuff, right? I like Nirvana. I liked.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
Adam Sandler.
Yeah.
Chris Farley.
Yeah, but also George Carlin and Led Zeppelin.
Yeah, but I like that stuff too.
Yeah.
But like the boomers still control some of the cultural capital. You know what I'm saying? Is like.
I wish they controlled a lot less.
I don't know. Like boomers had pretty good. I think boomers had a better cultural run than millennials did by a lot. I mean, you have like the Beatles. You have Martin Scorsese, like the boomers crushed culturally. Now, in terms of like what they did to the planet and like the legacy of the boomers is not good. I don't know how the millennials will shake out as like parents and the after effects of millennials remains to be seen. But culturally, millennials, we were bad. Like it was not good. I don't think, right? It was very like raw XD, like meme culture, hipstery, throwaway kind of stuff.
I mean, there were like classics like "Dude, Where's My Car?"
Which
Where's your
almost
car, dude?
Yeah.
like to me, "Dude, Where's My Car" is Gen X adjacent. Like, I think
It's strictly in my wheelhouse.
right, but we're elder millennials, so like we like the Gen X stuff more. Like I think the millennial shift is more like I think what started killing millennials is when we hit peak millennial was when that song came out that was like "Tonight we are young," and that's like because like the older millennials I think had a little bit more of an edge like Gen X, but the younger millennials have like those big brown hats, and like the LMFAO type stuff, like that. It's like millennial culture started, I think, as like kind of a cool like indie thing, and then they co-opted it into like indie became like a brand and like ruined anything like with meaning, and then that's why like media is so messed up now is because everything's just everything's just like hollow. Like I was listening to the radio today and that Bananarama Go-Go song Our Lips Are Sealed came on, except it was like Hillary Duff singing it and the drums sounded like they were being played on like a toy. That's millennial culture.
I think it's wild just because how much different music between Amy and I that we listen to. Bo knows so much music, and I'm not talking just like recent stuff. Like, and then a song will come on and he'll start singing it. I'm like, how do you know that? That song is like old.
You name your kid Bo and you expect him not to know stuff?
Bo knows. Anyway, he's musically inclined anyway, so he likes music and songs and stuff. But he's really into Weird Al right now, so watch out.
I mean, who isn't?
Well, when you know Weird Al, you know double the amount of music.
That's true. You've made it when Weird Al does one of your songs, right?
No, you've made it when Weird Al parodies your style, like, and he writes his own song that's in your style. Like, everything is wrong is like They Might Be Giants, or that one that's like, he did like a Police song, he did like a Talking Heads, but it's not really their, You know how Weird Al will do that, where he'll do like a style thing. Anyway, sorry for commandeering the podcast to talk about millennial culture.
That's fine. We needed a cool topic, and that was a pretty good one.
What do you guys think?
Jake looks like he wants to say something.
I mean, I just think analysis of cultures are incredibly subjective inherently. Like what you think is good and what you think is not good. I mean, it's all in the eye of the beholder.
I was really into LMFAO, by the way.
Really?
Yeah, I went to their concert in Minneapolis once. That would have been in late aughts.
What are those guys' names? Like Updog and Two Fork?
I have no idea. I remember it was back when I used to work part-time at Best Buy, I think.
Yeah.
But I don't know. We're of the age where you knew at a time there was no internet, and then there was internet. And it was around like the high school time frame for me, basically.
That's exactly right.
And so that just is a weird thing. Like, I wrote papers in high school off of Encarta CD.
Yeah, dude.
You know? And now you go on ChatGPT and be like, hey, write me a term paper. And I know they can, track all that down or whatever, but it will do it. So time is wild.
Yeah, I mean, when I went to college, there was no laptops.
Yeah.
Yeah, like you had to go to a computer lab. Like the smallest computer was an iMac that you had to lug around. Everybody brought their computers into other people's houses to play
you're rocking a
games
LAN
and stuff.
LANs,
Yeah.
So tight.
Yeah.
So
Duct tape someone to the ceiling so they can play on their computer.
I sent that picture in the Discord. That was great.
The best thing about local area networks was not like Doom and like Quake and stuff like that was hilarious, but we used to play Dope Wars on a local area network.
Like the game you could play on your TI-84.
Yeah, exactly. Where you go like, hey, I'm going to the downtown and I'm going to sell lewds.
Yeah, yeah.
But like when you play on like Nelnet or whatever, the only thing that changes is that if two drug dealers are in the same place at the same time, you can try to shoot each other to death and steal each other's drugs.
For me, LANs was all about StarCraft and Earthworm Jim.
You can play Earthworm.
Wait, nope, that's not Worms Armageddon. Worms Armageddon.
Oh, yeah,
Worms
Is it Earthworm Jim a single player like platform?
It is. Yeah, I said the wrong thing.
That'd be crazy.
But we did. Me and my friends, we just take like '90s basketball teams. So one of my friends he always had the Bulls. So he had Scottie Pippen and B.J. Armstrong and Michael Jordan as his Worms, and I made mine to be the Jazz, and I remember I holy hand grenaded him from across the map, and it just kind of like bounced right down, and then one of his guys just kind of scooted slowly into the water, and that was the dethroning of the Bulls. Unlike real life, where the Jazz never beat the Bulls, but
I just played a game of NBA Jam Tournament Edition against my buddy Tony. We were playing over RetroArch. If like any of you guys use like the emulators to play online, the emulators have gotten good enough where like it really kind of feels like you're playing on the console, but like on the internet, which has taken a while because even if you emulate something good, it's a little weird. But I played as Mike D from the Beastie Boys, and I added the Spurs so I could have Rodman on my team. But he played as the Bulls, and Scottie Pippen, he shot like 53s that game, and he missed 0. And he was shooting them from like the back at like the other side. I was like, this is unfair. And I almost got him still, but he had a buzzer beater that I just knew it was going to go in because he didn't miss a single shot all game.
I mean, NBA Jam is historically known for rubber banding in the game. So
but it didn't like, just like if you're down, you get to make points.
Yeah, they start. Yeah,
So-
exactly.
So maybe it was just that I was always 1 point ahead is why
And I'm
I
pretty
always
sure
made.
there's a. I don't know if it was a bug. I'm pretty sure the original NBA Jam, like the guy hated Cleveland or something, and so like he would always make it so Cleveland lost. If there was a last-second shot or whatever, they would lose.
Oh, really?
I don't remember what it is, but yeah.
That's funny.
Yeah.
Interesting. I remember all I remember from that game is, obviously going on fire.
he's on fire.
But you couldn't play as Michael Jordan because Michael Jordan.
Had his own game.
Oh, is that why?
He had a lot of his own games.
I wasn't sure why. Okay. And secondly, I recall there was like a cheat code to become Bill Clinton.
Yeah.
Yeah, cheat codes to do all. Yeah, Mike D.
Like I said, I was playing as Mike. You could play as all the Beastie Boys. You could play as I think you could. It wasn't Public Enemy. You couldn't play as. Maybe you could play as Chuck D and Flavor Flav. It was another rap group you could play as, and yeah, Bill Clinton, Hillary Clinton, and Warren Moon. You could be Warren Moon. You could be Larry Bird.
Yeah, and like
I think Emmett Smith maybe.
back in the day, you like there was no internet, so you had to like find these things out, like through like Sega magazine,
Nintendo Power, baby.
Yeah.
I was subscribed to Nintendo Power.
Yep. All right, I wanted to talk about because I don't know why I love Egyptian themed games, and I think it's mainly because I'm fascinated with Egyptian like history and mythology, and just generally I want to go there. So, top 3 places in the world you'd like to visit that you've never been to. Mine are, in no order, Japan, Egypt, Iceland, I think.
I mean, I can go next.
Oh, sorry, New Zealand.
New Zealand.
Because I want to go do the Lord of the Rings tour. It's like a 2-week thing where you just go all over the place.
So which one's getting cut?
Probably Iceland. I've been to Australia. I should have just gone to New Zealand while I was there.
I mean, they're pretty far apart too. There's a lot of ocean between them.
It's over there.
Yeah.
There's a lot of trips where you go and you can like stop or
for
do
sure.
both.
All right. I would love to go to like Tokyo and Seoul, South Korea, and then I would really like to go to the UK, which I think might actually be on the horizon here sometime soon. So
Nice.
I always tell my wife that I won't go to an imperialist country. I won't give my tourism dollars there. So that runs out a lot of them.
where are you going to go?
So Ireland is definitely at the top of my list.
You sure they didn't do anything?
Yeah, they were imperialized by the British.
You sure they
Shame
didn't?
on you, Tim.
I mean, you sure they didn't imperial some other person next door?
Do you know what imperialism is?
I mean, they didn't go take anybody over?
Ireland?
Yeah.
Ireland's just historically been a victim. So I really like. I think I'd like to go to
I don't
Croatia.
think anybody's been a victim.
I hear about Croatia.
Croatia's the best place you can go.
It's super beautiful, and I think I would like to go there.
Been there twice. It's
And
incredible.
I also just really would like to go to Estonia, Latvia, Lithuania, which are 3 Eastern Europe but Northern Baltic countries. I think I would like them a lot too. So I think those are my 3.
I would like to go to places that also don't have a dark past. So I think probably England would be the first one, and then
Portugal.
I don't know, maybe Italy,
Japan,
like
you may as well go
Rome
there, too.
specifically. I would
Yeah.
like to go to Rome.
Yeah. No bad stuff there.
No, here's I think I would like to go to a lot of places. Very high on the list would be Vietnam. Very high on the list. Little dynasty right now. Probably Israel would be. I mean, a lot of crazy history there. Oh man, where's number 3? Let's go with like smack in the middle of Africa somewhere.
There are 54 countries there.
I know. Yeah. If I'm gonna pick one,
I'll tell you what its capital is if you pick a country.
oh, so so you do that. You'd all the countries.
I
and all
know
the
every
capitals.
country and every country's capital. Yes.
Let's say a lot of cool. I don't know. Maybe Egypt. Egypt might be the one.
That's not in the middle.
I know, but like I was thinking about it, and like, what would be the actual coolest one to go to? Probably in Africa would be Egypt, and I haven't been on that continent yet. So
Man, and a few
Wait, hold on.
Oh, go ahead.
What's the capital?
Cairo.
of Egypt.
All right. Thank
Sorry,
you.
what's the capital of Botswana?
Botswana is Gaborone.
Okay, what's the capital of South Sudan?
Is Juba.
Okay, the capital of Libya.
Libya is Tripoli.
That's actually really easy. So I gave you a softball there. How about
Bhutan.
Bhutan is not in Africa. It's by India and Nepal,
Trick
but it's
question.
Thimphu.
Man, see,
Their flag is sweet. It's got a dragon on it.
so
Djibouti?
Djibouti. That's
Oh,
its
it's
capital.
Djibouti. That makes sense.
So a few months ago, we were at a trivia, and I don't remember what the exact thing was, but it had something to do with African countries and/or capitals. And I was like, man, I wish Jake was here.
I
And now I
would've had you.
really wish Jake was there.
Yep, that's my party trick that I know them all.
Yeah, after you mentioned that, like, there's a lot of places in Europe I'd like to go, just because Europe. My wife is from Croatia. I mean, not her family is. So
Croatia's crazy. If either of you
Yeah.
guys go to Croatia, I'll go with you. It's the best place I've ever been. Like, I'm not joking. It's incredible.
Plus, like all those Czech games guys and Vladimir Suhi, and they make all those really cool games about like is it Czechia now? Is that
Czechia. Yep.
is that what you call it? Like that, just that area, like so much beautiful old stuff.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, dude.
They always say that Americans can't understand how old Europe is, but Europe can't understand how big the United States is.
Everywhere you go in Europe is like crazy. Yeah, you see like and they just walk by it like it's nothing. Like, oh yeah, that building's 700 years old, but who cares? We don't even go in there. You could go. You take whatever you want. We don't care. Yeah, but like I mean, Prague and Budapest are like 2 of the like hottest places you can go traveling because they're pretty cheap comparatively and like awesome.
Prague would be cool.
But
Even though it's an imperialist, I think I would also like to go to Austria just because of I could meet my boy Alex Pfister since I talk to him quite a bit now. So it'd be fun to see him in real life.
yeah.
All right, let's talk about some board games we've been playing. I'll go ahead and start. First, I'd like to talk about a game called, I'm going to say this is pronounced Euro, and it's YRO.
There's not
And
Eero.
Euro, yeah. The designer is Masato Usugi, and it is by Play to Z Games in the U.S., which Play to Z is by Zev. who used to be like, I don't know, he's bounced around. He's made his own company. He used to be at Z-Man Games originally.
Is Z-Man Games not a thing anymore?
They've been like rolled in. He sold them to like Asmodee or,
Got it.
It got rolled off. So like he's been like multiple places at this point, but now he created his own studio and he's got a couple of games out. This one is pretty neat. If it's kind of like Castle Combo because you're building a 3x3 grid. I've only played Castle Combo on BGA, so I don't really understand it.
I liked it way better in real life than on BGA.
Okay, I mean, it's probably good, but like, Euro is a super quick game. Basically, on your turn, you have 5 cards, and you can discard some amount of them and draw back up to 5. Then you pick how many of them you want to play, and you spend the money, and you play them. And this is all simultaneous. And the cards have all kinds of things, like they'll have all kinds of abilities. Some of them will up your engineering or your magic track. Some of them will give you special attack powers. Some will give you more income powers. Some will give you end of game powers. Then you compare what matters in this one is the top 3 guys that you have out will contribute to your combat power. And so then you track your combat on this little thing, and then whoever has the most gets a certain amount of points. The next one gets so many. So every round you're going to get points based on how much power your front line has. And then you're going to get some income, and then you're going to get you generate some of your other resources or whatever, and then you can generate VP in various ways based on your cards, and you just keep doing that until you have a 9x9 grid or someone hits 40 points. And it's just a race to that. It's pretty cool. It's like a lot of like combo wombo stuff to it. And I think it's neat, like how you have to decide. Oh, the other thing is every card has 2 colors on it. And if you match one of the colors in a row or a column, you activate that color's ability. And it's possible to activate both colors' abilities if they both match all the way through. So there's a little bit of like how you build your grid like that. And
the art looks cool.
Yeah, it's if you like that art style, it's kind of a, I don't know how to explain it, I guess. Kind of anime-y.
It's like it reminds me of like Final Fantasy from Super Nintendo.
Yeah.
Type.
But no, it's really cool. It's like takes like 20 minutes to play, and it plays up to 5 players. So, and it's simultaneous, so I think like a lot of player counts is good for it. But that is Euro.
Eero.
Sorry, Cam.
I don't know how you say it.
I think you're probably right.
I got just one I want to talk about. So I just recently got a Kickstarter fulfilled from Garphil's 2 newest games. So one is the Anarchy, which I anticipate we'll do an episode on. Spoiler alert, it's real good. If you like Hadrian's Wall, I highly, highly, highly recommend it, but we'll talk more about it later. The other one that came with it is called Skara Brae. And so it is Shem Phillips, whereas the Anarchy is Bobby Hill, and then it is Sam Phillips is the artist. So pretty similar to a lot of the Ancient series. So same designer and same artist as Ezra and Nehemiah, which is the last one from them that we did. That's kind of in that ancient history line. So basically, you're in Scotland. You are it's a drafter in that you put cards up, and those are the people that basically are going into your village. But then it's also action selection. The thing that is pretty interesting about it is from taking people and then from taking actions, you're going to acquire resources, which you're then going to use to try to turn into points in different ways. But you're trying to manage the amount of resources that you're gaining, because eventually the more stuff you control, the more waste you create. And then at the end of the game, you want to get to where you basically have used everything. So you've been efficient, because then you're basically, as you're gaining more things, you're pushing this little bar to the right that allows you to hold more stuff. So you always can take on more things, but then you can't move it back unless you're taking an action to kind of clean up. And so it's an interesting mix of trying to take the things that you need, but not taking too much. There's a feeding mechanic that if you don't feed, basically just discard cards that you've already used, that could be worth points depending on how you kind of push your different tracks. But I think that makes it really unique. I haven't really played that many games where you want to collect stuff, but not too much stuff, and you don't want to collect things that you're not going to use. So I think that's really cool. The thing that I just don't know about, there's really two main ways to score, and it's by moving up these two different tracks. So I just don't know longevity, how much it's going to continue to interest me. But on the first couple plays, it's definitely been interesting in that, again, it's kind of a unique experience in that everybody has 9 of the same action tiles, and you can upgrade those by flipping them over to make the actions better. But then there is a 10th one that you are just dealt to at the beginning of the game, and you pick one. So, and there's quite a big pile of those, and mine came with a kind of like a promo where it gave me 2 additional ones. So there is, I don't know that I've maybe ever played a game that has the number of resources this game has. I think there's like 18, but unlike Civolution where it's just, your little pegs, they are all their own pieces, which is just wild. So it's fun. It's mostly simultaneous, which is also nice. So we'll see how it ages. I've enjoyed it in my first 2 plays, but I do maybe have my doubts on how much I'm going to continue to like it long term. But that is Skara Brae.
This week or last week or 5 weeks ago, it really all was kind of blur at this point. I put a post on Facebook of like several games I was ready to get rid of to good homes, and my wife saw the stack sitting there, and she's like, "Hey, why are you getting rid of that one?" Because I like that game. And so it's this game called Jubako by Kiesling and Kramer, right? The classic duo, and it's this game where you're stacking. It's like a minimalist like puzzle game, but you're stacking like sushi ingredients in like a sushi box or whatever. And so she claimed it. It's hers now, but it's still at her house. What you do is you have a couple of tiles, and they're kind of like dominoes. So there could be like different sushi ingredients, or there's one tile in the game of each ingredient twice, right? Kind of like a double-sided domino. And what you basically, if you stack tiles on top of each other, at least one has to match what's underneath it. But you get 5 points if you like make a stack of like both the things matching. And then you choose one of the symbols on the domino, and you score 1 point for every time that symbol's showing in your stack. And that's the whole game. And basically, like every round, you either draw a tile face up or face down. If one of the face up ones gets taken, you replace it. You have 2 in your zone at all times that you kind of have banked. So you choose one of like either the one you just drew or the 2 that you have in your sack to do it. It's pretty fun. It's like I think every Half Price Books has like new copies of it for like $15. I didn't really like it the first time I played it, but I've really been enjoying playing with her. It's gotten more and more fun to me as we've done it. And what's neat is it has extra tiles that you can draw at the beginning of the game, and then like it's like a secret mission where you try to have like a certain amount because you get bonus points for having that type of thing. And then there's more scoring variants you can do, where at the end of the game you like also score for your most represented type on each level of your stacks. And then there's like the ultimate scoring way is you rescore at the end all of your ingredients that are showing like how many of them you have times like the highest level one is at. So the basic way is very casual and fun, and it's just done when it's done, but you can get like more thinky with it as you go on. So I don't know, I think this game is punching way above its Board Game Geek rating and its price. And I honestly think that maybe people who've bought it just haven't played it enough, because I found it to be more fun as I've gone on. Because like the first time I played it, I was like, I don't know if I never need to play this again. Oh, and the flip side of every player board has a smaller box, so you have to build in like tighter spaces. So like it's a huge amount of like variables you can play with that for just a simple little small game that it takes 1 minute to teach. So Jubako, it's the easy move from like my 1 boing to 2.5 boing game of the last couple of years.
That kind of reminds me, just semi-theme wise, of what you were that game about India food delivery service.
Oh yeah.
That is escaping me right now.
Topsy Turvy or something like that. It's called
Dabawala.
Dabawala.
Yeah, that's right.
I liked that game. It was fun.
Yeah, it is kind of like Dabawala. It really is.
Kind of.
Yeah, except for that it's just dominoes. It's not like polyominoes.
Sure.
But the stack up is fun, and like if there was a complaint about Dabawala, it was like it's kind of too much for what you're doing.
Yeah.
Like this game is absolutely the opposite, where it's like if you're just playing with the base rules, it's like, what can I do to take the best turn I can take right now? And then if you get thinky about it, you can add like endgame scoring variants and things like that. So
It's got a Rodney video.
Yeah.
It's only 5 years old.
Right, and like again, I think I picked it up at half price books, like brand new for $20, and they had like a huge stack of them. I think you could get this game probably for $10.
That's Jubako.
Jubako.
If you're searching it.
Yeah, that's Miss Jackson if you're nasty, though.
All right, I just have two I want to talk about. One is Kronologic Paris 1920. It is by Super Meeple. Cam, I think you'll like this one. It is a deduction game.
I like it.
And basically I'll probably just pass it on because there's 3 different scenarios and there's 5 scenarios in each one. And they're replayable, I guess, if you forgot the answer. But
so it's like a team deduction game where you're like, it's like a mystery game.
It's not but it's more like Clue in the fact that you're going against each other. So basically the Kronologic one in Paris is you are in I don't want to get this wrong. You're in a Paris opera.
Ooh.
And there's different rooms and there's different characters and there's 6 times. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 for the times and there's 6 characters. And what you do is when there's 6 or 8 rooms or something like that. Anyway, the rules are a person can only move between one room every time, and they have to move. So on your turn, you say, hey, I want to investigate the stage at time 2. So you take the stage placard card, and you take you take the stage card, you take the time 2 placard that has like holes in it, and you hold it up there, and it gives you some information. And the information is usually something everyone gets to know and then something you get to know. And then you get to do that for all the places and all the locations. And as soon as you think you have the answer of the first one, we've done the first like 2 or 3, and it's basically somebody got poisoned. And the rule to poison somebody is the person had to be in the room with the detective that got poisoned alone. So it's what room, who did it, at what time. And you go until you can figure that out.
Cool.
That's basically it. There's going to be 2 more of these. One of them is like a Peruvian theme, I think.
Hey!
It's like Cusco or something.
That's in Peru.
Yeah. So, relatively cheap price point, like under 25, I think. And if you'd like deduction, there's a lot of cases in one box.
How many cases did you say were in there?
I think there's 3 different ones, and then there's 5. You can play each one 5 times.
And get different results.
Yeah, because there's different difficulties and starters.
So it's like kind of set up for you to be able to play 18 times, and then that's cool. I'm gonna have to check that one out.
Yeah, something like that. I mean, you get that. That's
Fun.
quite a few plays, and it plays up to 4 people, I believe.
Yeah. I mean, any game you can play 18 times doesn't need to be infinitely replayable. I don't think that's a lot of time.
Yeah,
played.
and you can play. There's a really easy solo mode for it too, where basically,
cool.
You just keep track of how many pieces of information you got, and then you go against a chart.
So if you really like it, but your family doesn't,
yeah, you can just sit there and figure it out yourself. The last one I want to talk about is Calimala. This is an older game. This is by good old Fabio Lopiano.
Is this the one about orange groves?
This is the one about whatever Calimala is. It is the Guild of Cloth Finishers and Merchants in Foreign Cloth in Florence in the late Middle Ages. So a real barn burner of a theme for you. But they redid it. It's got good old Ian O'Toole art, Cam. So I know you're all over that.
I like his art. His UI, his graphic design is kind of gets me, but I'm coming around.
All right. Anyway, there's a new expansion, and one of them is player power, so I'm kind of stoked to try that. But we played just the base game, and I had a lot of fun with it. It's a pretty quick Euro, like an hour long. Basically, there's you lay out all the action tiles on this grid, and then you have on your turn, you basically put one of your tiles down between the tiles on the grid, and you get to activate both of those tiles. And what you're trying to do is a bunch of different stuff, but you're trying to get your cubes on this board by either like donating to the church or delivering your goods to or like you're trying to make cloth to go deliver it to the different places. And there's 18, I think, different scoring tiles. And what happens is you can then stack your guy on top of somebody else's guy, and then you get to activate both those tiles, and then they get to activate both those tiles. So basically the whole stack activates when you do it. When a fourth one gets put on, the bottom one slips out and goes up to the top of the church area. And it doesn't get to activate, the other 3 people will get to activate in the stack. But then that tile goes on that scoring tile and you score it. So you know what these 18 things are going to score over the game, and you know what order they're going to score in. And for the area control, you get, I forget, it's 3, 2, 1, I believe. 3 for first, 2 for second, 1 for last place. And then everyone has like a personal scoring objective at the end of the game that'll score. There's a public one that you're all fighting for that is worth more. I think it's 5-3-1. It's a snappy, quick little thinky Euro puzzle game, and it's really neat. There's these general ones that you start with, and they get to activate each tile twice, which is kind of cool. But they never reactivate in the stack is the downside. And when they get to the bottom, if they get shot out to the top of the track, you then, if you're the one to do it, you get to put your thing up there. And the tiebreaker, because it's pretty easy to have ties in this game, the tiebreaker is how many of your guys made it up into the top of there. So that part of the game really reminded me of Autobahn and like promoting your guys up those certain like tracks that he does. But yeah, it's a really slick Euro game. Don't be scared of the super beigeness of it.
Beige.
It's not that beige anymore.
I mean, the box cover looks really good, but it's very beige.
I mean, it's got like a dragon on it.
I know. It's awesome. All right. Tonight on the podcast, we played Men-Nefer. Men-Nefer? Yes?
It's Sergio Mendes and Jennifer Love Hewitt. That's
Great.
the power couple.
It is currently 8.2 on Board Game Geek. It came out in 2024. The 8.2 gives it 1,250 overall, 609 strategy. Travel to the capital of ancient Egypt and take part in the development of its culture. 1 to 4 players. Hey, Jake, best at 3.
Always.
We were joking because I've only played it at 2 and 4. And Jake said it's probably best at 3.
Well,
so.
not only that too, but we never play the way the game is best when we do the podcast.
Yeah.
So
That's just according to people, though.
that's true. What do people know?
Yeah. 60 to 120 minutes, ages 14 plus, 3.71 out of 5. It is by Jermaine P. Milan. The artist is Laura Bevon, and the publisher is Ludanova.
So real quick on that weight, I know we'll get into actually talking about the game later, but 3.71 seems crazy high for this game.
One more comment. German Milan and Celine Dion would be a good power couple, too. Except for that this guy's name is probably pronounced Herman Mian.
Possibly.
Like, what would the name be?
German Milan and Celine Dion?
Yeah.
I think German Dion, maybe. I don't know. German Lamangelo.
I mean, there's a lot of icons on this one. It's heavier. People think this is heavier than Bitoku.
There's no way
There
this is heavier.
is zero chances heavier than Bitoku.
I would agree with that. I mean, it's by like 0.10.
It's not even
or
close.
0.1.
It's not like, having played both of them recently, it's not even close.
I don't consider this game to be heavy at all.
Yeah.
It was kind of a crunchy teach. Because you have to learn a lot about.
I taught my wife how to play it by playing the game. It's not like if you're someone that needs to know every icon before you start playing.
You know what it is? It's just the board has so much stuff on it.
Yes.
You look at
It's
it.
overwhelming to look at, but Bitoku,
Is significantly more.
you look
overwhelming.
at it
Yeah.
and you're like, what does any of this mean? Whereas this isn't really true for this
All
one.
right, well, let's get to the table and come back with our actual review of Men-Nefer.
Dude, you guys.
Did you want to talk about what you do in Men-Nefer? We didn't do that.
Hey, Jake, why don't you tell us what you do in Men-Nefer?
So in Men-Nefer, you are going to play 3 rounds And basically, in each round, you are going to take 9 total actions, 3 of each of 3 different types. So you're going to play your apprentices into what are the sun action zones, and then you're going to carry out an action based on a tile that you are dealt in the beginning, and then you're going to choose later. So you're going to do that 3 times. If there are people in those slots and you pay fish to be able to activate those areas or activate the tiles once you place them, then you can move those apprentices over into the night, which is going to basically advance you on a track for that action, and then you're going to carry out whatever action that track is, either at the level you are currently at with your scarab or a level below. And then the third thing that you're going to do 3 different times is you're going to claim a tile for next round. So that will be the action that you take when you place your apprentice out. But then also, you will get to take a small action based on what is to the side of that tile when you take it. And then you potentially also can try to go take tiles that match certain icons on your board to move up a different track. So you're going to do each of those 3 things 3 times, and then all of those tracks are primarily what the major actions are, whether they are placing mummies, whether they are building the different pyramids, whether it's delivering goods into the temple and moving up a track there, whether they are moving down the rivers and claiming different contracts, or they are placing Sphinx and getting the rewards that come out of that. You do that 3 times, and that is the game of Men-Nefer. Let's get it to the table and see how it goes.
If I told you things I did before, told you how I used to be, would you go along with someone like me? If you knew my story word for word, had all of my history, would you go along with someone like me? I did before and had my share. It didn't lead nowhere. I would go along with someone like you. It doesn't matter what you did, who you were hanging with. We could stick around and see this night through. And we don't care about the young folks talking about the outside. And we don't care about the old folks talking about the old style too. And we don't care about the wrong folks talking about our own style. All we care about is talking over me and you.
All right, and we're back. Let's hit up our initial thoughts on Men-Nefer. Campbell, you're new to this game.
Yeah, I knew I would like it because you guys have been playing it for like a year and a half or whatever, and always talking about what you like it, like that you like. You know, like
Has it been out that long?
It was about 6 months.
Yeah.
I mean, my time is like on a weird scale. I think it was the first time I saw you guys playing. I think was at Cardboard Caucus this last year.
Yep, I had got it right before that.
I was playing something else when you guys went to play it.
Andromeda's Edge.
Yeah, I think maybe that's what it was. And so I didn't get a chance to play it. And then like I went back into my my cave for 6 months or whatever. And here I am playing it now. So I knew I was gonna like it. I didn't know how much. So we'll go over that in the podcast. But I went in with high expectations, and I think they were met.
I had not actually completed a game of Bitoku before playing this, and I've never played Sabika, so I just knew the rage was kind of high on Herman P. Milan, and so I saw this when I was at Miniature Market in St. Louis, and I was like, I'm going to get it, and I did, and I was very, very pleasantly surprised in my first play.
I think both Rob and I are super high. Like, I really like Sabika a lot, and then I hadn't played Bitoku quite as much until maybe this came out, and I also really like Bitoku, so like I was very, very high on this game coming in. And
you were kind of low on Bamboo, though, right? That kind of
I
set
did
you
not,
back a little bit?
Yeah, and like I would just forget he made that one. And then and then we'll go from there.
Yeah. I mean, that was like a lighter-ish type one,
yeah,
too.
it's totally different.
For me, I nodded my head to all the things Tim said, and I love the Egyptian theme, so it had me with that as well. Let's get into the pros, I guess. I love the billion player pieces you get in this game.
So many.
Because you have all your sphinxes, and you get all your, I don't know, they're not really pots. What are those, like urns or?
Yeah, like the
Goods.
gifts.
Yeah. And then you've got your mummies and your sarcophaguses. And then, like,
Sphinxes,
yeah,
feathers,
and
hearts,
they're all
boats.
like special shapes, and they're just not all. They could all be cubes, and it would accomplish the same thing. But I don't know. I love all the special wood pieces. In the game.
And they're like screen printed.
Yes.
Yeah.
The board just looks super nice. Like, there is a lot to it. I definitely think this is a game that upon looking at it right away, you're like, oh, wow, there's a whole lot going on here. But everything just has a place, and I honestly think that it has the initial, wow, I don't know that I'm going to be able to do this, and then very quickly that feeling goes away, which I feel like is a comparison point to Bitoku, and maybe I don't really know what it is. Maybe it's just the art style and what the theme of Bitoku is with the sleepy eyes and the not sleepy eyes, but like this just makes sense so much faster.
There's so much more on the Bitoku board with the little the little tracks. There's like 5 different tracks for each of the columns, the little tiny like pumpkin looking dudes that you move around that you're trying to win area majority, and even like all the rocks and the resources and the dragonflies and everything, they all sit on the board, and they're a lot to look at. So.
Yeah, I mean, this board's got a lot going on, but it doesn't feel as
But
busy.
the things make sense, though. Like, it's mummies. Oh, here's my mummy spot. Oh, here's where the mummy goes. And so there's just, I guess you can, maybe because everybody seemingly has at least a baseline of Egyptian understanding that you more or less expect things. You're like, oh, that is that, and that goes there. So it's definitely overwhelming when you look at it, but I don't think it is very hard to digest. And I think that while there is a ton of icons, there's not really anything that's ambiguous about I guess the lady and whether there's a good in front of her or not. Maybe that's a little bit right up front, but it's pretty
after
accessible
like one
once you're into
play,
it. Yeah,
I got that.
I mean, but honestly, even before that, I don't think it takes to the end of the game to.
No.
Yeah.
No, definitely the iconography in the game is very consistent and good, and it just makes sense. The only thing that is slightly close together maybe is end of round points, the red thing and the heart. I know multiple times Cam was like, "Oh yeah, that's points. Nope, that's a heart." And I think I've done that before too. So.
Yeah, and I kept calling it a shield because it kind of looks like a shield.
Mm-hmm.
Also.
I think it's really unique that this game doesn't really have endgame scoring. I mean, that just seems to be a part of every Euro-type game now that, well, I can do stuff to score now or I can do stuff at the end of the game. And I think it's a nice, fresh take that doesn't happen. It's just everything scores 3 times. Maybe the only other game I can actively think of that does that the same is Castles of Tuscany, which is kind of the spin-off of Castles of Burgundy that's a little bit different. And that's a pretty underrated game, I would say. I really enjoy
it's cool.
Castles of Tuscany.
Flip Freighters does that as well,
Okay.
which is on Board Game Arena, which it's always fun to be like, oh, if I do this before the scoring, I'm going to get to score it 3 times. And which is in many other games, I think, too. But like that makes it exciting to go do it earlier.
All the actions are fun. So, I mean, there's 3 different actions you can do, and they all feel like good actions. There's not like a pullback action or something that you're going to do. So you're either putting your guy out and then doing the stuff that you got on a tile, which you took that tile from the previous round, and when you took that tile, you got something when you took the tile. And then moving your guy over is kind of like the main action, but you can still do... I like how you can do a lot of different things to get what you want to get done. There's always maybe a different way to come at it.
There's lots of wobbling, absolutely.
Yeah, a lot of different ways to try to come at it, and it's a game where, sure, you could do a little bit of everything, but you could do a lot of a few things.
I don't think...
Too, and I think that's probably the better way to go, but you still feel like you did a lot.
I could be wrong, but I don't really know that you can be a true generalist and be super successful in this game. I think you got to kind of bop out a couple things really well instead of just doing everything kind of.
I mean, I think I did everything except for the mummies this game.
Yeah, but you were at the end of 2 things, right? Like your building was pretty much maxed out, So I mean, like you went real hard into that, and your Sphinxes you went really hard into, and everything else was just kind of peripheral.
But like I had a lot of stuff all the way down the river.
Yeah.
I delivered a lot of stuff. Like I said, I think I did a lot of the big main actions, except for I didn't touch the. And that's the first time I think I've done that much stuff, different stuff.
Tim, what do you got?
Yeah, I mean, you guys kind of. I think the uniqueness of that you start with basically action tiles for what your workers are going to do right out of the gate. So this is kind of on your board, and then taking an action to grab another tile is definitely something that you don't see very often at all. I guess it's a worker placement game-ish. I don't know, but like when you place your worker, you actually do what's on your tile, and then you go draft something you're going to do the next round. Like.
It's all just like super action selection.
Yeah.
In different ways.
And thinking about when you need to put a worker out or take a tile to get a bonus because you need this other thing, or take a tile to get fish, or whatever it is, right? Like, it's very interesting.
Yeah, I think it's fun to play the waiting game or try to figure out, like, you want to race to get your people down so you have to pay less fish for those main two actions. But then, like, you might wait for some people to scoot their people over, so then at least you don't got to, like, double pay for all the fish. And then if you see someone go to a spot, you're like, oh, I better move my guy over before they move their guy over, and I got to pay more fish.
That's a really fun level of player interactivity. So outside of those action selections, nothing else. Racing for contracts, potentially, if there's things that you're both doing that you want to score. And then maybe even the small pyramid scoring. If two of you are being competitive about that, there's maybe a little bit of a race there. But there's not a ton
Papyrus.
Yeah, I mean, people taking those papyrus is what usually makes me mad.
Yeah, so there's a good amount, but not where somebody can completely do something that derails everything you want it to do. So I think that's probably the right amount. If you're a Euro player who doesn't want a lot of negative, but enough that it's not just purely multiplayer solitaire, then I think this is a good fit there.
I don't know, the board state changes a lot, and every time you place something on the board, it removes something that somebody else can do forever, kind of. But which I think is all fine for player interaction, because it's just kind of like any worker placement game where you're prioritizing what you want, and then the things that you do afterwards will either be more expensive or you have fewer choices, and I think that's totally fine. It's not messed up at all. And how many times did any of you guys pay 5 fish to go do and take an action? I did it once.
I did it once at the end of the game when it didn't matter.
One time, yeah. So, I don't know. I think the interaction is the right level.
I agree.
Yeah.
Yeah, I like. So there's 5 tracks where you move these little scarabs up. Like,
Big pro. It has tracks.
Yeah, it has these tracks.
Lots of tracks.
I do like that you can move them up kind of outside the, taking that action, moving your guy over. So when you take the tiles, you can basically, if you match a symbol, you can kind of bump this little track up that lets you move a scarab. And you can double or triple dip into the same action there too. So you can bump you can really start to hammer those things pretty quickly in the game to level up your sphinxes, your sarcophagus, or whatever. I find that to be quite cool. Or you can diversify yourself and go 3 or 4 different ways. So
I think in regards to, I kind of want to add to that point, but I completely agree. The game makes you feel clever. If you can find ways to kind of delay doing something and push up that action to get to a higher level than maybe you thought you were going to be able to get to, there's a lot of little ways to eke around and again, just feel like, hey, I played that in the right order, or this order of operations matters a lot. So again, I think that it does have a good scratch of both tactical and strategy in that case, because you can set out an overall goal that, hey, this is the kind of thing that I want to do, and then you can choose the tiles that enable you to do that. But also there's just like the right time to do those 9 things that you're going to do over the course of your turn. And so not being so pigeonholed into, well, this is what I'm going to do right now, versus I can do that in a couple turns to take a better thing now. So I think it's a good mix of both of those.
Yeah, at least the first 2 rounds, especially taking that tile. The first couple times I played, I really focused on the bonus I was getting now, and am I going to match my symbol to move my thing forward, because those extra scarab movements is good. But the last couple times I played, I've really focused on that, plus, okay, I get to do this next turn as well.
Yeah. And that's just a fun little, again, Tim mentioned that earlier, but that's a fun, unique thing. You're planning for next round, this round, with bringing your people back, which is, yeah.
I would say a pro for the 4-player game is that we cycled those tiles a lot. So in setup, everybody gets like a 1, 2, and a 3. And then all the rest of the tiles are shuffled together and put into a stack that you then refresh this row. In a 2-player game, you barely go through the stack at all, right? And so you can really time out if you find a tile that is what you want to do and matches your thing, and then you can kind of maybe time out, oh, I'm doing boats and no one else really is, so this is going to move down the track and feel really great about getting your bonus, taking the action that you want from taking the tile, and then next round getting the action you need. I think is, I don't know, like it just scratches all the right itches.
Hey, you know what I like about this game?
What's that?
Is that you're doing 3 things 3 times, and you kind of choose when to do them. Like, timing things is really fun. I think we've kind of touched on this, but why is Teotihuacan one of my favorite games ever? Is because it's like the timing of that game is everything. It's like any game where I have 9 chances to, like, I know I have a certain amount of actions to take prior to when everything needs to have, like, be tied up. It's why Underwater Cities is so high on my list too. It doesn't matter what order I accomplish things in, so I have to, like, my whole game is figuring out what I can get accomplished in the amount of time I have to do it, and, like, completing my projects before the time is up, you know, a number of times. And then, like, and Teotihuacan and Underwater Cities are all based on three reckonings as well, which I think is the magic number, right? So that's my favorite thing about this game.
Yeah, and the 3 rounds with the 9 actions, it does not overstay its welcome. I think you're able to maybe not do everything you want to do. I would say it probably pushes on a little bit of it. You can probably get most of the stuff you want to get done. I guess definitely the more that we've been playing the game, I think we get more and more and more done. Tonight was by far the biggest scores we've ever seen. So, but if this was 4 rounds, this game would be obnoxious.
Yeah, it would be. Also, Underwater Cities and Teotihuacan are 2 games that where, like, have interim scorings that are quite important, and it's not just all endgame points, right? So, kind of similar there. Even though they have endgame points, is what I'm saying.
I definitely agree that it's the right length. There is a fair amount of flexibility too in the, you know, to some extent you're given action tiles in the beginning, you know, those are shuffled out to you that are going to kind of dictate at least what your first, you know, I guess a third of what your first round is going to be. But after that, you have a lot of flexibility. But there's just so many different lanes you can lean into to do that I think that makes it interesting. And there's also a fair amount of flexibility too, like with which deity appears, if you're going up the specific one track, and then what contracts come out and when they come out. There's a lot of different things that you can kind of lean into to make each play different.
Here's another thing I like. So many of these games are based off of, like, so many Euro games have, like, that, like, the constant choice when you're, like, out doing stuff between long-term and short-term concepts. This one is different in that there's no upgrades in this game. It's all just everything you do translates to points. And so when you're making a choice of, like, where to place your Sphinx or, like, what contract to take and things like that, it's never like, oh, is this going to give me, like, a good passive income? There's very little income in this game, and it's just onks and fish. And, like, you're just either going to get them or you're not. And it's not, like, a huge deal because there's plenty of ways to get onks and fish in the game. So that's kind of neat. It's kind of different from a lot of Euros that way.
I'll just touch on the Feather and the Heart track. They're kind of like, I guess, the Arc Nova. You're trying to cross the 2 things. Raja's Ganges, right? They do the same thing. That's your scoring tracks. This is more like, I don't know, they're just little bits that you get from doing stuff that, you know, aren't exactly points, but you kind of can wobble into. I just need.
Well, it's
one
psychological,
more
right?
Yeah, it's like
because it could just be a point track, right?
Right. Yeah, it could be one, but you know, as you move them along, it's like 2, or then it comes to 3 moves, and then you get an extra point. And if you make them cross in the second round, it feels really good. I don't know. That whole track feels cool.
What's neat about it is you have to be good at Feathers and Hearts in order to, like, get a lot of points from it. But if you're very good at one of them, you can at least, like,
mitigate the damage.
mitigate
you're
the
getting.
damage.
Yeah.
So I mean, like, which is the only way it differs from just having a straight points track for feathers and hearts.
I don't know, man. Everything feels good in this game. Who's got cons?
I mean, I want one last pro.
Okay.
I think the rule book's really good.
It is a very good rulebook.
And the overall production of the game is just fantastic. Even though like you don't really need a lot of the pyramid pieces and stuff, it has like a cool 3D element at the end. And I mean, the game's like $60, which I mean, take that with a grain of salt at this point in the economy, but like it's a solid $60 Euro game.
Yep.
I want to put a little caveat on the rule. I think the rulebook is very good for teaching you how to play the game. I don't know how wonderful it is to go back and find things. Not necessarily iconography and what contracts mean, but like if there's a little thing you're unclear on, the way that it's structured, again, it's great for learning, but it's sometimes it's things aren't where you inherently would think they would be to go find it to clarify something.
Yeah, no, I agree with that. The structure for looking up is difficult because it's one of those where they tell you, the thing is, I've looked in there enough now that I just know where to look.
Yeah.
But a lot of rule books do this now where it's like game structure, important concepts, and then like here's what all the actions do.
Yeah.
And then the back are like all the symbols, which they all kind of fit on the page, which is nice.
Yeah, and the appendix in the back is great, and the fact that it gives you all the clarity on those things. Yeah, I mean it's a good rule book, I'll say that, but maybe when you're maybe the second time you come back to it and it's been a little bit, but you're not going to reread the rule book, just like, oh, where do I find that specific detail? Maybe isn't the easiest, but I still think it's a solid rule book. I got a couple cons. I mean, Rob kind of alluded to this at one. I just wish they would have done something a little bit different with the Queen's Pyramid, which is the one with the you put the eyes out to claim the things. It's so unnecessary the way that it is, and I wonder if they couldn't find a way to make putting the components out do something, because there's just no reason to put those little components out for building.
To build the three
yes.
small pyramids.
So, and I guess you'd have to restructure some things to make that work, but I don't know. That just seems like it's such an afterthought.
Yeah, I could be wrong, strength-wise, but I always find the Queen's Pyramids inferior to the other one.
I think it seeming
just
I think it
just
has
because going on the other track. I mean, it's not nearly as long.
Yeah.
To be fair, so I mean, maybe that's the difference.
But there's no incomes you're getting on it either, though. So.
But yeah, as you move, you get to build, so you get stuff, and then you also pass those hat symbols, so you get stuff. So you're getting stuff all along the way, and you're just auto getting points without having to do anything
else
to match it.
I wonder
and
if
really
you can do both buildings. If you just really go ham into building, if you can max out both those tracks.
I mean, I maxed one, and I got to the first step on the other
Yeah.
one.
But again, as you said earlier, you were going all kinds of other places.
You can definitely do both.
Yeah, I think you
Yeah.
could.
Yeah.
But like, and here this jumps
Especially
in another.
like when the cap of the pyramids, the pieces that score, like when those two tie together, I believe there's like one for like buildings there too. That if they don't tie together, it's really hard to do both.
Yeah.
That makes sense. Because like, what's the point of doing the eyes if
you
it's
don't have
the
those
three
to
things you're not
score?
doing? Yeah.
Yeah, that's very true. You've got to have one of those eyes where you're going to score that you want to do them on. But that ties into maybe another con. It's probably not a huge one, but I feel like in general, most times I played this game, the person that gets in the lead in the first round kind of stays in the lead the whole game, because just the way scoring works. And it's super important in this game to eke out every kind of point you can get, because you get every point you score in the first round, you're going to score 2 more times.
I think I want to add something
And it's
to that,
the
'cause
whole way.
I agree, but I think rather than it being a game that's designed like the rich get richer type mentality, it's just that you have to do progressively better than them in all of the other rounds, and that's hard to overcome. I mean, to make up that ground.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. I mean, and the pro is, I could care less because the whole game loop is just fun.
Yeah.
And like, I like to try to do the best I can, but and I'm sure there are ways to make up the points, but yeah, you then have to outscore them the next round.
then probably the third one too if you're going to make up for it because
Yeah.
they're a net ahead of you.
It's just everything you score in the first round, you score in the next two, and everything you score in the second round, you're going to score in the third round.
And see, I think that also just like this game, I just decided I was gonna hit the top of that orb track, and I wanted to do it by the end of the second round. So I got it twice, and ultimately, upon doing that, I feel very accomplished, and I'm very satisfied with my play as a result of that. But in hindsight now, like I should have just done other things and got it later. Like the difference between getting to the top and being 2/3 of the way there, and if I could have set myself up to score more contracts earlier, like that would have been net better. But it's fun to do those things. It's fun to reach for them and knowing that you're going to get that income each time. So yeah, I think that that's true. But I don't think it's necessarily an inherent game flaw design like it is sometimes with that rich get richer type thing.
Yeah, I don't think it's that. I think it's just it's hard to overcome. And I want to say I'll pay more close attention the next couple times I play it. But the thing is, at the beginning, everyone seems to be fairly close.
I think it's mostly the second round. Whoever gets runs ahead, if they get ahead by a decent amount of the second round, it's going to be hard to overcome that at that point.
Yeah.
Because the first round, you're not really gaining that many points to offset the negatives you take with the heart and the feather.
You guys let me get whatever contract I wanted both rounds, first and second round. Like, there was no competition on contracts.
I grabbed the ones that I wanted. I had 3 contracts.
I mean, I
pretty
filled
early.
my board with contracts too.
But what I'm saying is, like, the first 2 rounds, I was able to get the ones that, like, because
that you could finish right off the bat.
Right, yeah, that I could just do, right? And I think you took a couple of the level 3 ones,
Yeah.
which I wasn't even worried about, right? So if someone, I think, dominates an area, the contracts is, I think, an area where if no one's messing with you, it's really easy to get contracts that you can do because you're only doing one other thing, like putting your boats on the water or whatever it is. So
because the level 1s are typically you've taken that action once.
Right.
Yeah. I got 2 other things that I don't think are major. One is kind of prawnish, so I don't know. So I really, really, really enjoy the 3 actions where you're taking the tile for the next round. I do feel like in the third round, just inherently because you're not going to take another round, that feels a little inconsequential, and you're purely taking it for what the side is. And I don't know a way to fix that because I really like it in the first 2 rounds, but it does feel a little underwhelming in the come down in that you're not even going to benefit from taking, like, you get the thing to the side and that might help push you over the edge for something, but that action doesn't feel the same in the final round as it does in the earlier 2.
It feels slightly worse, but there's still lots of side benefits still have a lot of good stuff on them. Like that helped me do a bunch of stuff.
And I think I like it so much in the early rounds that it's not actually a major con, but it's just it's a little underwhelming in the final one. And then my other thing is I don't feel like there are enough uses for Onks. Because it's really just papyrus is the only thing you ever spend that on. And if you're not getting papyrus, you're just never spending that resource. Whereas fish is your tool for interactivity with other people. And so I guess it would have been better if there was another way to use Onks other than purely on the papyrus.
I don't know, Cam, you did a lot of papyrus. I don't really do papyrus, and I hardly ever touch Onks.
But see, I shot up the orb chart, so I was getting big income of Onks, and there was no way to spend them unless I did.
Well,
papyrus.
I mean, Cam had to spend a ton of them.
I
right?
did have to spend a ton of them.
Like if you're like maxing your scrolls every time.
I'm just saying it's weird that one of the 2 resources you take, one is so instrumental in the interactivity, and the other one is just for this one specific component of the game. I think it'd be nice if that was spread out or you could utilize those in other ways.
You know what a cool mini expansion for this game would be that would fix all these problems. The score thing, the Ankh thing, like the resource thing, and the grabbing tiles at the end of the game thing is just a mini expansion where in round 3 you put a bunch of new little contracts out and they have end game scoring on them. And so when you take them, you get the little action there, but it's also like an end game scoring thing. Well, you want the better ones, you got to pay fish for them, but then they cost Ankhs to like score them at the end of the game. Or Onks or fish, because like if you're doing papyrus and like at the end, like if I have 3 fish, I can score this tile or whatever, and so it matters what you take. You have a use for Onks if you've been storing them all game, and you can over the top Tim if he's been ahead of you all game with fancy scroll taking.
You heard it from Cam first.
I don't
Here we
have
go.
the cons of this game.
Herman P. Mian. You can.
My things are all minor.
I would not change
they're
a single
not things that change the way I feel about the game. They're
Dude,
just little things.
Is Herman P. Mian a portmanteau of Pee Wee Herman?
Pretty close. All right, are we ready for our final thoughts? Here on the Board Boys podcast, we have a 3 boing rating scale, 0 being the worst, 3 being the best. One time you can give your 4 boing rating of a game. Half boings are allowed. Campbell, give me a 0 boing game and a 3 boing game of Jennifer.
0 boing game of Men-Nefer.
Yeah, that's what I said.
You get plagued by the Israelites 10 times, and then they leave with all your riches.
Sad.
3 boing game of Men-Nefer.
Yeah, you build a golden pyramid.
All
You
of you
hit all those tracks.
You hit every single you get every single one of your sphinxes out, every single one of your mummies, every single one of your builder assignments. All your boats are as high up on the river as you can go, and you made it to the top of the orb tower, and you filled your contracts, and you get 200 points.
This game needs Sphinx riddles.
Yeah,
Anyway.
yeah.
All right,
I
Tim.
only know one sphinx. The riddle of the sphinx is the one about has 4 legs, then 2 legs, and 3 legs. Isn't that the riddle of the sphinx?
Yeah, probably.
4 legs in the 4 legs in the morning, 2 feet in the afternoon, 3 feet in the evening.
It's a human, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
You crawl, then walk, then need a cane.
Thanks, Sphinx.
Yeah.
Tim, why don't you start us off?
Yeah, I said I don't have any complaints about this game. This game is very, very, very fun, and everything about it, I wouldn't change a thing. So it's quick for a heavy, I wouldn't say it's heavy, but for a thinky Euro that scratches a bunch of that, combo wombo itch, this is very, very hard 3 points for me.
I can go next. Even though a couple nitpicky things, I don't think that should make people think that I do not enjoy this, because I think it is amazing. I always enjoy my plays. I'm very, very happy it's my collection. It is an easy 3 boing for me.
I'm gonna. When we were playing this, I was like, I'm gonna give this 3 points. That was like in the middle of the game. As I got to the end, I think I'm bringing it down to a 2.5. And here's my thoughts behind this. When I was playing tonight, and this is the first time I played, I was like, man, the next time I play this game, I could do so much differently. But when I thought about it, all I really didn't I made it halfway up the orb track, and then I didn't really touch building, the building style you guys did at all. But I pretty much did everything else. I didn't max out boats, but I don't think this game would get samey for me ever. But I don't know. If I don't know, maybe I played again and it's a 3 boing, but I think right now I'm saying 2.5.
Yeah, I mean, I think you just have to hammer a couple things in this game.
I agree.
So
and I got plenty of 3 boing games like that.
Yeah.
I'm just saying, my heart says 2.5 right now, but I loved it. I had a great time.
Robert?
I think it's a 2.5 for me as well. Cam and I are on the same wavelength tonight. I really like this game. I don't know why I equate this to almost like a Diwa from E.V.A, as far as a lighter, on a lighter.
I don't think
Euro
it's
game.
that light.
I would agree with that.
I don't know. I feel like the game, you can play this game really fast.
It took us 2 hours today.
I know, that's wild.
But I was asking questions for the whole first hour of the game, and then when the decisions were important, I was taking slightly longer turns.
Yeah,
at the end.
Maybe this is a 3 boinger when I play it in an hour. Or
I
90
think
minutes
I
or
could play it
something.
much faster.
This game
the
doesn't
next
seem
time.
like it should be a 2-hour game to me.
This game's not a 2-hour game.
Yeah, and it didn't. I mean, it says 60 to 120 on the box, and I get that, but I don't know. I really like the game loop is so fun. I just think the catching up to people part is really hard.
Good.
And I didn't really even think
if
about
you
it
do as well as other people then.
until tonight.
Yeah.
In the whole game, we're like, man, I'm crushing this game. I'm doing the best I've ever done. But I just kept watching Tim just get farther ahead of me.
I did the best I ever did, and I still
And
lost by 10 points.
so
I did the best I
it's
ever
fine.
did.
I like the game, but
I played.
I don't
better.
know. I have just a funny thing. It's one of Jake's major cons in games.
You don't like to lose?
No.
Okay.
His con of you feel like I'm just gonna do the same thing next time I play this game, and I kind of feel like that with this one. There's only things you can do, but I always joke because I think that's a silly con because that just seems like most games to me anyway.
See, I don't feel like you do the same things.
I don't feel that way in this game either.
In this game, you have to do this and you have to do that. In this one, you have to do.
I believe you can win this game by maxing out any of the things, the 5 things you can do.
I think
I mean, I
realistically,
maxed
you got to
out
max
mummies.
out two
I
things,
pretty
I
bad,
think,
but-
pretty much.
Yeah.
I said I maxed out mummies and sphinxes, and I don't think
Yeah,
that was
but, like-
necessarily
But almost
as good.
all of your mummies though were level,
level one, yeah.
Like if you get those up and you're hitting level 2s and 3s.
Well, but the thing about that is I was putting them all in the places where I scored the most possible points every round for having them.
At that time.
No, because I scored like on the biggest scoring axis I could get was 1 on one side and 2 on the other.
Yeah,
you
and-
so
could have hit the 3 slots
Yeah.
in that same thing. Level 3 mummy in the same section. And then you got 3 of those tiles when you place them, and you're still scoring 3
Oh,
points
yeah,
per.
good point.
You had I
And
think
you got
2
a-
of your
a
mummies
bunch
were
more
level
hearts
1.
and-
Two
So
were level 1, 2
yeah,
level
if you
2,
hit those
yeah.
level 2s and 3s
Same with
by
your sphinxes.
scarabing and
Yeah,
sneaking
that's
it
true.
up.
Because those actions you can take for doing the things
Yep.
are pretty
Yeah,
good.
see, like I had 2 level 3 sphinxes, which felt pretty good, and
Yeah.
that's kind of
Yeah,
what you
you
got to
know what?
shoot
Good
for
point.
with that stuff.
Mhm.
No, I mean it's really good. There was something else I was gonna say about it, but
Sorry.
I don't know.
That's fun.
That's it. It is fun.
I
Oh.
believe you're going to say you're going to make it 3 points.
Oh, that's it. With 2 players, you got to do some funky stuff. But I really like the blocking things. They're easy to figure out, and like it's not a big deal to like run those. Like the blocker.
Yeah, you just move them down
people-
every round.
Yeah, and I guess the solo mode for this is really good.
I'm not playing.
I haven't tried it
As
yet.
I was just looking around on,
I assume it's play the game.
I think it pretty much is. I think the bot is like very easy
Hmm.
to bot.
When is the last time that me and Tim were higher than both Rob and Cam on a game? I don't feel like that happens very often.
No, because you hate every game.
I do not hate every game. I like most games.
Record says no. I don't know. I'll find out. All right, sweet. So that'll wrap us up for Men-Nefer. If you want to kind of look back at a year in the past with us, we can do that right now. So it was El Grande a year ago. Cam, hit us with the theme song.
Baby, turn around. I wanna see that sexy board game go. Board boys bump.
Or dump.
All right. El Grande was a 7.8 for 92. It is still a 7.8.
Dump.
Rob?
Yeah, dump it.
Cam?
Bump.
Bump. 97. We played it like right as the new edition came out, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Kind of got that.
So it did
hype.
bump?
It dumped.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. 97.
Still in the top 100.
Still in top 100.
Not for long.
Yeah. So, have anybody played it recently? I haven't played it. Maybe
I
on
haven't played it
BGA.
since the podcast.
I've definitely played it since then. It's still really good.
Yeah.
I
I don't know. You
know
got to play
there's-
with the variable king power.
Yeah, variable king is where it's at.
Yeah. Game's not great without that.
I should start up another game of that on BGA.
Let's do it.
I definitely played it on BGA.
Yeah.
After the podcast.
If you like area control, you most definitely should play this game. I just don't really like area control, and I don't also really like games where you do well by just half-heartedly going after areas that nobody else does, and that's the key to that game. So,
I have an interesting area control game to play with you.
All right.
Twilight Imperium.
No.
We're going to do that soon. If you would like to give us.
We can play this game in between turns of Twilight Imperium. Go ahead.
Yeah, that's fine. You can give us feedback on our Board Game Geek Guild. You can find that through the website. So David Moore says he really enjoyed it. It's one play of it at Dungeons Gate. We played it with a different deck, if you remember correctly, that the king placement makes a big thicker and a brain burner. Ready to go at it again, so a 2.5 for him. Christopher Boat said this one... played this one early in my gaming career. Don't remember it super well, but here's my BGG comment from back then. Not my kind of game at all, but I acknowledge it's a solid area control design. I like how streamlined the whole process is, but the veto cards are a total nuisance. I don't remember veto cards. Did we not play with those? Maybe we did. I don't remember them, but that was a 1 bowling for him. BJ from Board Game Gumbo had it in a pool about 10 years ago where we each bought a game. He voted that one in the top 2, and I believe David Dugas brought that one, and it made it the top 2 listed for the pool. He said it was 2 bowlings for him for El Grande. Nate Simmons, the granddaddy of all area majority games, still holds up after these years. One of the things he appreciates the most about El Grande is the Castillo and how it becomes a secret stash for your Caballeros. Is that what they're called in this one? To be repositioned at the end of the round. 2 bowlings for him. Rob Cooper, El Grande is a fine game. It feels quite like pure area control using the mechanic well without being too fiddly. I guess it comes with being so old that the other mechanisms haven't been discovered yet. 2 boings. And then Dre, definitely a play-in-person kind of game. This game rocks. I was expecting it to show its age, but the game was great for beginners and seasoned gamers. It's cutthroat in all the right ways, and the decisions are important from turn 1 to 100, 2.5 boings. And then Jeremy Thoman, he likes a twist of the Castillo. It really surprises you or others, causing a fun swing in the game, accompanied by moans and groans. 2 boings, but maybe go 2.5 if you played it more. That's it.
More games need Castillos.
Like hidden places where you can just drop people and have to try to remember what's
Yeah, I
in
mean,
there.
that's why I like cube towers.
Yeah.
So, I mean, I guess that's like the same thing, right?
Kind of
Similar.
different, because the cube towers, the thing is like Wallenstein or whatever, where things get stuck.
Yeah, I
Shogun,
mean, nothing
like-
gets stuck in here, but you're still dropping something into a rectangle.
Yeah, you try to remember what's in there. And then usually you forget how much you put in there, let
Sorry.
alone what everybody else did.
My friend Ben, I think he shared it in the Discord, but he showed me the full thing of our hot dog. Basically, I forget exactly what it is. I'll try to put the full link in the Discord somewhere, but it's basically talking about all the different shapes and what those foods are. And then they give it like examples. So like if it's a U, that's like a like anything that's a U can be like it's a taco or
Like a gyros taco.
yeah.
Okay.
So a hot dog's a taco?
Yes. It's so funny, all of the things. And like one of them is called sushi. And then like so like they're talking about how all these other things are sushi. It's really good.
Sounds awesome.
Everything's rectangles.
Yeah, perfect.
All right. Well, thanks for listening to another episode of the Board Boys Podcast, Season 16, Episode Ocho. Men-Nefer is the game we play tonight. I'd like to thank our patrons now: Hannah McDonough, BJ from Board Game Gummo, Timothy Crisco, Shifty Teeth, Mitch Pruhome, Jordan Smith, Jeff Gray, Andre Bosch, Braden Dowdy, Rob Cooper, Richard Lane, Matt Kelly, Jeremy Thoman, and Dom Lankin. If you'd like to join the Patreon, that'd be great. Go to theboardboys.com, hit the link from there, hit the link to the Discord, hit the link to our social media, check out our cool pictures, come talk to us, all that jazz.
Rob, if I started donating to the Patreon and I just put a name in there, you would read it no matter what that name was, huh?
Yeah, I mean, we used to have somebody called Shifty Teeth.
Yeah. What if I put a name in there like that was really rude, like Rob sucks?
I'd read it.
Oh boy, what's our lowest tier?
I think it's $1.
Yeah.
Would you pay $12 a year for Rob to read whatever you wanted?
I mean, yeah, but maybe I should donate. Maybe I should donate $500 a month, and then our Discord will be, or our Patreon will be super, super fat.
All right, everybody. Until next time, we hope you like board games.
Boing, boing, boing.